Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pro Mentor Instagram Live. Tonight is our 4th episode, and I will be joined by my co-host, Rachel Corsi, and also our special guest, Kristen Edmonds, both from the NWSL franchise, Kansas City. Real quick, just a background about Pro Mentor for those who don't know about it. Pro Mentor is a virtual platform where we provide lessons, training, advice, all of the above from pro athletes, connecting them with amateur athletes, and allow them to use our platform to do these type of lessons and get to know one another and help them out in any way they see necessary. Kristen is currently playing, like I said, for Kansas City. She has over 100 NWSL appearances between Kansas City, Orlando, and Western New York. And she also played in the Russian Premier League and in Iceland, obviously both in Europe, before coming over to the States and starting her pro career with the NWSL Western New York Flash. We're going to get the special guest in first. And one more second, we'll get Rachel in here. Hey, Kristen.
Hi. Oh my
How
gosh.
are you?
I literally just took a bite of food. I'm good.
Nothing wrong with that. What's going on?
All right.
Yeah.
Nothing, just hanging.
I love the vibe. I tell you right now that Evan's not here, I feel a lot more comfortable.
Love that.
Hey, Chris.
Is my lighting okay?
Perfect.
Okay, good.
I did exactly the same. It's kind of funny doing this. You're like the level above me and 50 yards around the corner.
Yeah,
I did the same.
I was gonna ask you, like, should I come over? Should I come over and we can be in the same screen, or
Do it, Gio.
all good
No,
stuff.
because we need the followers. We need all your big time followers.
True.
Well, hi.
What's going on, you guys? Rach, I know how you're doing.
I know.
Leon, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm actually on family vacation down in Destin.
No, you look
Florida,
a little tan. You look nice and tan there. What were you doing today?
Got a little color.
I'm jealous.
Can't complain. It's been a good time. But honestly, really excited to have you both on tonight. I know that Rachel's been really pumped about this all week, as have I. And I know we talked a little bit earlier today, and really excited for you to tell your story about your path to pro and how you got started at the professional rank. So I'm going to turn it right over to you, Kristen. Your path to pro, as detailed as possible. Don't leave any small detail out.
All right, I'll try my best. It's a bit of a windy road that I was on, but let's see. Where do I start? Came out of the womb kicking. Just kidding. I didn't do that. But I did. I started playing soccer when I was like, when I was really young.
You're too old to start back then. Skip a few years.
True. Soccer wasn't around yet. No, I'm just kidding. I started when I was really young, and I actually played on boys teams for a really long time. I grew up in a really small town in New Jersey, and a lot of girls just didn't play competitive soccer. So I played with boys, and then when I was probably like 11 or 12, my town was able to get a girls team going. So I played with them for probably a year or two, and I kind of just went to like small town teams. I really didn't play on these super competitive. We didn't even have the ECNL back then when I started to play club soccer, but I'd never really played for a major club soccer team in New Jersey until I probably was in high school. And then I played for a team called Jersey Knights, which a lot of people probably haven't heard of. They probably know like the PDAs of New Jersey and things like that. But I got lucky enough. I had an amazing coach. He was the associate head coach at Rutgers. Jeff Zahn, he was also a former pro himself. So I learned a ton from him. And he's actually kind of how I got to Rutgers University, which is where I went to college. I was getting recruited by a bunch of schools, just going to like local tournaments and regional tournaments and stuff like that. But he was kind of like, hey, you guys need to take a look at this player. So they came out and watched me play. And I went on a visit there I didn't even have Rutgers like on my list at all of schools that I wanted to go to, but I went on to visit and I absolutely loved it. And it was really important for me to have my family be able to watch me play because they've kind of like been along this journey with me. They still are. So having them be a part of my journey was really important to me, which is why I stayed close to home. Played there for 4 years, had a really good career in college, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and make it pro. And I tried out for Sky Blue, which was the WPS, I believe, back when I tried first. And I didn't even make end of preseason. Like, I got cut right away. Didn't get drafted. Got cut right away. Didn't even make it to, the next step. So what happened was I wound up finding a team in New York, the Hudson Valley, and we were called Quick Strike Lady Blues. We were a semi-pro team. Again, I got super, super lucky. My coach was unbelievable. One of the best coaches I've had to this day. I learned so much from him. And I played for him from a season. And I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this. Try it out again. Got cut again.
No.
But this time I made it to preseason. So I was, taking some baby steps. But yeah, went into preseason. I was the very last cut. Like, it was between me and one other person, and I didn't get chosen. I was devastated. So I went back and played for Quick Strike again. I'm going to point out that we were undefeated in the regular season for 2 seasons in a row. And we won the regular season 2 seasons in a row. So at least I was doing something there. And then after that, I was like, all right, let me try the overseas route, because I really wanted to be a pro. Like, I was that kid that in school, when you like fill out your paper and it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I would always write professional soccer player. My teachers are always like, okay, let's pick another dream. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. So I was like never taking no for an answer. And then I got an opportunity to play in Iceland. And yeah, I made my pro debut playing there. My first season, well, I only played there for 1 season, but we won the league when I was there, which was unbelievable. I got to go with one of my best friends as well, which was really cool. But that was kind of like my first experience really being away from home. And I was like kind of nervous to go at first, but I was like, you know what? Like, I've been home playing in front of my friends and family my whole career. Like, this is my chance to kind of like get my foot in the door. And yeah, so I jumped at it and I had a great time over there. Iceland's amazing. If anyone needs a place to go vacation, 4-day weekend, go to Iceland. It's a beautiful country and the people are so, so nice there. But yeah, it was amazing. I had a great time. I actually wound up getting seriously injured. I did play through it, which is like kind of weird, but yeah, I destroyed my ankle. So I actually wound up coming home having to get like reconstruction ankle surgery, which is like still kind of wild to think about. And then once I recovered from that, my agent got me another opportunity to play overseas, to play in Champions League, which is something that I really wanted to do. It's like a little bucket list item. But also, like, when you think of your playing career, to be able to say that you've played in Champions League is unbelievable. Like, I feel like I can look back at my career whenever it is I decide to retire and feel that I've literally done everything and more, from what I even like, more than what I've even dreamed that I could do. So that was in Russia, which surprises a lot of people. They're like, you played in Russia? I'm like, yeah, and I loved it. I loved playing there. I was a bit homesick for the first couple months. Not a lot of people spoke English. Thankfully, on my team, there were quite a few foreigners, so like I had a nice little group that I can kind of connect with. But I kind of got to the point there where I was like, all right, like, I want to be here. I want to play in Champions League. I want to play in the league here. I want to win the league. Like, I just have to kind of throw myself into this culture. And I did. and I learned the language, which made my life a lot easier there. So I was able to kind of have a life outside of soccer as well. I was able to explore and do all these things around Moscow, which is where I played. But I had a great time there, and playing overseas for me gave me the ability to kind of, especially in Champions League, I would say, see different styles of the game and kind of learn from like all these teams we were playing against, like Wolfsburg, teams in Italy, and just kind of take little pieces of those styles and kind of like implement them into my game. I feel like I've always been a student of the game and I love studying the game. So I think that actually helped me for when I was able to come back and play in the NWSL. I think I brought those lessons learned from being overseas into my style of play here in the NWSL. And then, so I was there for 2 seasons, and then I was like, okay, like NWSL is where I want to be. It's the best league in the world, the best competition in the world. Like, this is what I want to get back to. I want to come home. I want my family to be able to physically come to my games again, and they're such a big part of my career. So that was important to me. And yeah, I got an opportunity to come back and play for, at the time, was Western New York Flash, which is now North Carolina Courage. So they kind of just moved down there. But I played for the Flash for 2 years. And to be honest, like up there, I was playing a lot, but I wasn't doing great. Like I wasn't really playing free, playing like myself. I felt like 2 years there was long enough and I kind of needed a change. Lucky for me, Orlando was the new expansion team that next season, and I got traded to Orlando. And I think that's kind of where my career took off. Like I had this like fresh start, right? Brand new team. I mean, obviously the coaches know a little bit about you to bring you in, but I feel like for me, I had a clean slate. I was able to like find the love for the game again. Obviously Orlando's like beautiful. As you know, you're in Florida now. But yeah, so kind of like all aspects of my life were kind of falling into place. And when I got to Orlando, I absolutely loved it. I was
What did you love though? Because I think that's
playing in Orlando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So
why did you love it so much?
So on the field, I was put into a new role, right? So I've played in every single position. I could play up top, I could play in the back, and I can play in the midfield. And I think it's because I always like study the game. So if somebody's like, hey, can you do this? I was like, yes, I can. Can you play on the right? I can. I can use both feet. Can you play on the left? Sure, no problem. So when I went to Orlando, the team itself, the environment, to be a part of that environment, like everybody was happy to be there. We all got along really well. I mean, the facilities there are top notch, and they put me in a new role. So in Western New York, I was playing a little bit up top, but mostly in the back. And then I got to Orlando, and they put me in the midfield. I was playing in the 10 and the 8, and it was like a newfound like spot for me. I just literally went into every training session because it was kind of new for me, and I was just like a sponge. I was like, teach me everything I need to know. I'm going to try to do everything I can, and I just wanted to help the team so much. Like, we're a new expansion team, so there's no expectations, right? Like, no one really expects you to succeed being a new team coming into especially this league, which is so competitive top to bottom. So I felt like I was put in a position to kind of be free, and my coach let me just kind of have that role of just kind of go find the game and do what you need to do. And yeah, being in a place that I love to be in, being around teammates that I like to be around, and everything, like I said, was kind of just like falling into place in all aspects. So on the field, I was just enjoying myself so much. And that year, I probably had my best season ever, and I actually got called into the national team camp. 2016, 2017. So that for me, like I never thought that I would ever get to that point, like be on that stage, get to that point in my career. I never got a cap with them, but I was in 2 camps, and that for me was like a whole nother learning process. I felt like I was still growing as a player, even though I was 4 years into my pro career already. Like I felt like I was still growing. I was still learning. I still had more to give, which for me was like, okay, let's keep doing this. Like this is what I love to do. This has been my dream since I was a little kid. Like this is my job, and it's literally the best job in the world. So yeah, I was in Orlando for 5 years total. And then this season, KC came to town, and yeah, now I'm here. And again, like I think the environment of the team for me is so important. Like I don't do well when I am not happy where I am. And the team that we have here in Kansas City, like, I mean, Rach, you're a part of it too. Like, we all love being around each other. We all want to do so well. And, like, it's not showing in results right now. But I think the fact that we have this, like, team camaraderie, it's like we all want to do well for one another. And I think once we kind of just get the luck to go our way just a little bit, we just kind of need one game to kind of kickstart us. But I think that the environment that we've created as players will kind of come through and shine, and we'll start getting some dubs. So yeah, now I'm here. So that's kind of my story.
That's an amazing story. We really appreciate the detail, and it really is fascinating from start to where you're at now. Just a couple things. Reminder that Kristen is in our app. She's one of our mentors, so you can book a lesson with her. The way to do that is downloading our app at the App Store, and then obviously finding Kristen within the app and booking a lesson with her. Same goes for Rachel. If you do have questions that you want Kristen or Rachel to answer, you can use the comment function at the bottom of the screen if there's anything that you want to know from them. And then just quick side note before I turn it over to Rachel, I have been to Blue Lagoon in Iceland. So
yes, it's
how crazy
amazing.
is that place?
It's amazing. Like the fact that was made out of a volcano is just crazy to me. When I was there, actually, fun fact, one of the volcanoes had erupted, and I was at our men's game, and when we walked to our cars, like there was just ash covering everything. The sky was like gray, brownish. And we had no idea. Like, I had no idea. I was like, oh, my God, what's happening? The world's ending. Like, what's going on? But, yeah, a volcano had erupted. So, like, that was a first for me. Probably a last for me, but a little fun fact there.
Wow. Well, Rachel, good luck following that up.
I know. I mean, I'll add hopefully the last. I don't think we want to get too close to volcanoes. Yeah, I mean, I'll just probably touch on, I think... Well, funny story, first of all, we actually got to Florida for preseason camp together, and we did this really cheesy walkout. And it was like I think we'd literally met at the dinner table the night before, and the media guy comes in and he's like, we need to do your reveal. And being in the 30+ group, we'll call us, they did this walkout over a hill. So I'm pretty sure there was...
thought about it like that. Oh,
yeah. I remember thinking we have to say the joke first before that's all the comments. Anyway, I feel that was like the start, and I think, you know, I've obviously been in America for 7 years. You've been in the league for 8 years. You've got to be up there as one of the leading all-time appearance makers, I think, over 100 anyway, which puts you in an elite category. I have loved just playing with you and talking what I would call football. Just understanding how well you know the game. And I think, as you say, you know, that experience in Europe, other leagues, has been key. I want to know just, or have you explained to the people watching, and, you know, hopefully we can use this content and spread the wisdom to more people. Just the biggest lessons about leaving the US and going and challenging and putting yourself in an environment where it's a different culture. You know, even just maybe tell us that first feeling when you first got on the plane to go to Iceland. Because it's one thing a lot of people will say, oh yeah, maybe overseas, but to actually sign the contract, get on the plane, that's a big step for the first
it's a
time.
massive step. Yeah. And you're kind of leaving your comfort zone, right? So, my comfort zone, I was in Jersey my whole life. I mean, Hudson Valley, New York is an hour and a half from where I live in Jersey. So like I wasn't really gone. I could come home whenever I wanted. And my parents and my family were at every single game. So, yeah, taking that leap to leave was a big one for me. But I was really excited to go. Like I think I was at the point where I was like, all right, I've been here long enough. Like I've always wanted to travel, and to be able to travel for soccer and get paid to travel for soccer for me was amazing. So I was like really excited to go, but yeah, you just learn a lot about yourself when you're kind of like pushed outside your comfort zone a little bit, like living in another country. Luckily for me, they spoke English in Iceland. So I didn't really have to deal with that right off the bat. But yeah, you're on your own. You're in a place you've never been before. You're the odd man out. You're the foreigner. But I thought it was really cool to be in another style of soccer. I was forced to learn how to play a different way. Obviously, like America, we're kind of based off of our athleticism. We're fast, we're strong, a lot of us play other sports growing up. So we're kind of just athletes that play soccer. But in other countries, I find that the players just play that sport. So it's like they just have that their entire life. And Iceland, I would say, in Champions League as well, like playing teams in Germany, I would say is a lot more physical than it is here. I mean, I'm not saying that this league isn't physical, because it is extremely physical, but I had to kind of learn how to think to not get hit, because I'm a lot smaller frame. I'm probably honestly like one of the smallest players in the league, let's be honest. I'm pretty tiny. I know my bun makes me look taller than I am, but I'm not that tall, and I'm like very slim.
True story. That bun gives you an extra couple inches.
It does, which is why I wear it so high, trying to deceive people out here. But yeah, I had to learn how to give myself an extra second, make more space for myself, and when I needed to slow things down and play quicker, just so I didn't get hit. So that kind of helped change my game a bit too, because I was forced to tactically figure things out, and I couldn't always just rely on my athleticism. Like I had to think. And now, being in the oldie but goodie group of of players in the league, I definitely use my brain more than I use my physical attributes, for sure, playing now.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm probably in the totally I can't really relate to that. I'm like first in the gym, last out the gym. But I'm glad you play next to me, because you have that speed to recover. So it's a good balance, I feel, on the left side of the back line.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a little change direction, because I don't want us not to mention this. You're obviously still playing and very committed to that, but in Orlando, you took on a little bit of a different engagement, and you're obviously, I want you to speak about this, but the reason I want to talk about it is you're obviously passionate about sharing your knowledge and what you've learned and your experiences. And you've already said you absolutely love the game. And that's really clear, even just hearing you speak now, just the knowledge you have about it, and you live for soccer like a lot of us do. Mm-hmm. But tell us about FC Highland.
Yeah, so a group of us, there's 5 of us, that started a youth club in Orlando. And I honestly can say that I never wanted to coach. I just didn't think it was for me. I was always like, once I retire, like my boots are being hung and never coming down. Like, I'm done with the game. I'm going. Animals are my second passion. I'm just going to focus on them. That's going to be my thing. But little things kept coming up, like, hey, like, can you train my kid? And I absolutely love that. Individual sessions, small sessions. And then I was getting these like little coaching opportunities. I used to go home in the off seasons to New Jersey. And I would coach some of my youth teams in my hometown. Enjoyed that. And then a high school job came calling. One of my coaches from Orlando asked me to be his assistant. And once I kind of took that on, I realized that, like, okay, I actually really enjoy coaching. And when FC Highland came about, the owner of it came to me and kind of told me how he wanted to kind of run the club, the values of the club, which match my values and my morals. And for me, like, that's one of the most important things, that I'm a part of something that I believe in. And so we started this youth club, and we're a year in. We just finished our first year, and I coach. At the time, we just expanded. Going into next season, we'll expand. But I coached the only girls team in the club. We have a ton of youth boys teams, but that was kind of something really special for me. And we started with, I think, 11 or 12 teams. And we've added a couple for our second season. So I do as much with them as I can while I'm here. But when I'm done playing, I will kind of just throw myself into the youth club and kind of throw everything that I have, all of my knowledge. Hopefully I'll still be able to jump into some sessions with them and just kind of give everything that I've given to the game to these kids. And, you know, if I make a difference in one person's life, like, I've done my job. So hopefully I can get to, you know, a few more than that. But yeah, just coaching at the youth level for me it's special, because you still get to have an impact and kind of mold their soccer journey and their life as well. So that's why it's special for me.
That's awesome. I mean, especially to be doing that while you're playing pro is pretty incredible. And
Yeah.
It kind of transitions me perfectly into a question from Becky, who's on our broadcast right now, asking about if either of you see yourself getting involved in the youth soccer scene in Kansas City. And I think the answer to that is Pro Mentor, right? That's the whole point of being on the platform. Yeah. And, you know, not only helping the youth in Kansas City, but across the country, correct?
Yeah, for sure. For me, I think this is a perfect way to get that one-on-one time with any pro that you choose. My favorite thing about the app is the film sessions. I think you can kind of get out on the field and go through those sessions. Oh, I'm like breaking my table over here. No problem. But I think to really understand the game and understand why you're doing certain things and how you're doing certain things, when you're able to watch yourself or watch someone else play, like if you're watching a Kansas City game, for example, and you take 10 minutes to kind of just look at the game as a student rather than as a fan, and when you're able to put clips onto the Pro Mentor app and have someone like us talk you through it and just make little adjustments, or even just give you praise on like what you're doing and telling you why it's great that you're doing that, I think is something massive that you really don't get anywhere else. It's kind of hard to, you know, be out on a field and like, how are you gonna kind of get that one-on-one film time? You know what I mean? So I love that that's in the app. Like, that's my favorite part of it. Rach, I don't know what yours is, but for me, that's the best thing.
Yeah, you know, that's also one of my favorite functions. I think we're similar. We love to talk the tiny small details and pick things apart, and you know, we even watch our own we even do film analysis the day after our own games together. And yeah, I think it's a function that probably for a lot of youth kids, I think in earlier sessions, you know, a lot of the time there's a lot of general conversation and a lot you can give. You know, the lessons are, you just want to pack as much information as you can into them. But I think for me, those video sessions are where we really bring a huge amount of experience and just knowledge that I think it's really hard for kids to get in club environments, because club soccer in America is so intense. Kids play so many games a week. There's so many different teams. There's tryouts. There's so much to the game here. And so these sessions to me they're really rewarding for the pros, and I really, really hope that they're rewarding for the kids too. And we want to just keep being as available as we can to do as much of it as we can.
Yeah, that too, like the availability part. Like obviously we're in season, right? So we don't have a ton of free time to kind of get out on the field and be on our legs and stuff. So this is just another way for us to be able to give what we can give, like give our knowledge, sit down with you. You can ask us any question, like we can go through film with you. So us being able to be able to do that while we're in a season is something that's pretty cool as well.
I think, hey, Rachel, I think Kristen's been sitting in our Pro Mentor staff meetings, so she knows exactly what we're talking about with the video. And quick reminder, in our latest update, like I mentioned last week when we had Josh Williams from the Columbus Crew on, now the draw feature is available. So not only can you watch film with your favorite pro, but they can literally take you through a chalk talk session and turn it into an actual film tactical analysis and really in-depth kind of learning. My second favorite part of this, and Rachel knows this too, is truly the mentorship side and helping kids with, mentality and dealing with adversity and things like that. And I would just ask you, Kristen, after you got cut twice and you're being told no, and you're still fighting to battle to achieve your dream, what would you tell kids, that are in a current situation where maybe they didn't make the A team in their club, or maybe they're on the JV team in high school? What piece of advice would you share with them based on your experiences and what you went through?
Yeah, so it's actually funny because this advice I got from my coach, the Quick Strike coach, when I got cut from Sky Blue from the tryouts, and I played for him, and he gave me this advice, and I literally take it everywhere, and I wish I had gotten it sooner. And he said, control the controllables, which for me is massive. Like, I cannot control if a coach likes me or doesn't like me. I can only control what I'm doing on the field, what I'm doing off the field. So yes, I can get feedback and say, hey, like, what can I improve on? And then it's up to me to maybe go find a trainer, watch film, do whatever I can do, find a team that's going to challenge me to be able to take steps to bring my game to a new level. But those are all things that I can control. Like I said, at the end of the day, like, every coach isn't going to like you. You might not get picked for the A team, but then once you take steps to improve, maybe a year down the line, 2 years down the line, that same coach may look at you and be like, okay, maybe I made a wrong decision. Like, maybe she's ready or maybe he's ready. So yeah, I think just have the mentality to, instead of woe is me and kind of like going into a shell, kind of take the other approach and say, like, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's kind of my mentality and how I kind of got to where I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're going to start wrapping things up here in a second, but before I do, I just want to say, Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. This was really, really awesome. Rachel's going to give us her final thoughts here, and then we'll close the IG Live for tonight. But again, I just want to make sure I thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. This was so fun. Let's do it again sometime.
We're definitely doing it again. We're cutting this now because we don't want to give away all your golden tips. But in all seriousness, download the app and book a lesson with Kristen, I think, is the final message. Yeah, this has been great. So I really appreciate you giving us your Thursday evening.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to update my availability this weekend for next week. So yeah, if you want to book a sesh with me or Rach, then, I just kicked my dog. My goodness, I'm a mess over here. Yeah, I'd love to chat with you. So yeah, thank you guys for having me on again. And yeah, this was cool.
Awesome. And like Rachel said, download Pro Mentor at the App Store. Once you do that, you can book your lesson with Kristen. And Kristen, thank you again so much for your time tonight.
Yeah, cool. Bye, guys.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you. First up coming.
It's coming. You heard it here first. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.